Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the latest episode of What If. In this episode it is called What If Hela Found the Ten Rings. So, for those of you who have not seen this episode, this is a combination of basically Thor, classic Thor, the number one, the very first Thor, combined with Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, at least partially. You'll understand once we get into it. So the story starts off the same as we know it in the MCU, where Hela and Odin work together to take over the Nine Realms, and that they will be under Odin's rule, for they will be protected because he's ruling them. Basically, the main story, right? And in the regular MCU, he banishes Hela to basically the underworld, so she could not escape and not cause any more damage. But he did something a little differently in this universe. He actually removed Hela of all her powers and sent her to Midgard, aka Earth, where she must learn how to show mercy, or else she will never be able to get her powers back again. So she goes down to Earth, and let's just say she goes on a rampage from the get go. She goes to find her crown, and she finds it where she also finds Wenwu? Wenwu? Zhao Wenwu, which, for those of you who don't know who that is, he is the owner of the Ten Rings. So he apparently finds that the crown smashed into Earth, and he goes to look for it. Now he finds it. Now he doesn't know it's the crown yet. He just knows that something from outside of Earth crash landed there. Hela gets there and basically explains that she is the goddess of death and that this is her crown and she deserves it. When she gets punched in the face, she realizes she's mortal and decides to not have it anymore. She tries to pretend to be a damsel in distress, and that's when she starts to go ballistic and beating off his men with ease, beating them down little by little. She then explains to Wenwu that basically what's going to happen is she will take this crown and she will basically show that she is more powerful than anybody else. And he shows her to it, and she's like, interesting. Never had somebody show me to their death, but it's always interesting to see. So she tries to pull it out of the ground and is incapable of doing so. So what happens next is Wenwu captures her, brings her back to his palace, and explains to her that he wants her to work with him to take over the world to protect it. And Hela basically explains, like, hey, here's the thing. Like, this is exactly what my dad did, and I didn't like it. And I'm not going to like it with you because you're going to do the same thing that he did. And Wenwu was like, I'm not your dad, so I'm not going to do that. She doesn't believe him. So she knocks him out. She then tries to take his rings, is unable to, not enable, unable to. The rest of his men try to come after her. She escapes and runs away. That's when she falls into a place. She finds the little creature that has no face and shows her the way to Talon. Talon? Please? Talon. Talo, sorry. I knew I messed it up. So it's Talo. So this creature basically shows Hela where to go. So she's knocked out once she goes through the bamboo forest and wakes up into Talo. Now this is when um, Heimdall realizes he can't find Hela anymore and lets Odin know. So Odin's like, well, how is that possible? How could how could the mortals of Midgard kill Hela? And Heimdall basically explains that there is a mortal there that has the ability to have potentially the ability to kill a god, which is the Ten Rings. So Odin basically says, well, then fine, we will go to Midgard and we will defeat them. We will take away their power because Midgard doesn't deserve those powers. Basically, what he says. So while that's going on, Hela is in Tylo learning from Shang-Chi's mother, where I don't think she exists. I mean, he exists in this universe, and she trains Hela on how to be a better fighter. But I think what's killer here, is that Hela basically is being taught how to find herself and basically try to understand what it is internally that she wants truly. So during their trainings and everything else, Hela's very much sarcastic and basically denouncing all this stuff that's happening. She isn't happy and she doesn't want to be. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? So while this is going on, she continues to fight and everything else, and she's basically learning how to do so, learning the ways of this. But what we find out too is Hela wants to kill Wenwu, wants to kill Odin, and the reason for it is because she wants to be free. She doesn't want to be owned by anyone. She wants to choose her own path. And that's when Shang-Chi's mother basically is like, perfect, now your training can truly begin. And that's when she learns to become a better fighter because of her inner peace. Well, before her training is done, she knows that Odin has crash landed into Midgard to destroy it. So she decides that she's going to fight him. Now, Shang-Chi's mother is basically like, don't do it, Hela. Like, this isn't going to work. And know this, that you will have to do this alone if you go alone, if you do this. Or you can stay here and train because we are guardians. We are not warriors. And Hela goes, I am a warrior. And the only way for me to truly be free is to fight this fight. And she runs away. So she grabs a bunch of armor too, by the way. So she gets a bunch of dragon scale weapons, armor, and goes towards where her father is. So what we see is Wenwu fighting off the warriors of Asgard and beating them down, telling his men to stay in the palace, and that's when Hela comes in to help. And Odin is there ready to kill them both. So this is one of the better fight scenes that I've ever seen because it's Hela and Wenwu versus Odin. And let's just say this is Hela without her powers, and they are pretty much kicking butt. And so little by little they're fighting each other and everything else, and they're trying to remove Odin's weapon away from him so they can defeat him. And although they are successful in short term, they are not successful long term, and he keeps getting it back and blasting them away. Now, it does not kill them. But during this fight, he grabs Hela by the throat and is ready to kill her. Um, I'm sorry, I lied. They continue to fight, and Odin goes to swing his spear at her. She uses the abilities that she learned in Talo, takes his spear, and has the ability to strike him down, and she refuses to. She shows him mercy and says, Father, let us stop this fighting and end it now. And that's when Odin grabs her by the throat and says, how are you, Hela, my daughter, giving up the kill? And she explains that she's learned mercy and that she does not want to kill anymore. And that's when her helmet comes free and shoots towards her and lands on her head. And that's when she becomes no longer the goddess of death, but the goddess of peace. That's when Odin strikes her with his spear with full power. She holds it in the power of her hand, aims the energy back towards Odin, and defeats him. And he is on all fours, bowing at her feet. He explains to her that if she wants the throne, it is hers, and that she has learned far faster than he ever expected and surpassed him by leaps and bounds, and that she would be the new leader of Asgard. So her and Wenwu decide to team up and go through the entire universe to actually bring peace to the worlds, basically the universe. And that is how Hela and Wenwu teamed up to bring peace to the entire universe of her universe. It was actually a really good episode. A lot of fight scenes, a lot of coolness. I did like Hela's story arc in this. Gave me a lot of classic Thor vibes, along with a little bit of Shang-Chi. I enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.